In just a few hours, Rome loses 50,000 men. It's the worst military defeat in its entire history. And the man behind this carnage isn't even Roman. It's 216 BCE. On the battlefield of Cannae, Hannibal crushes the Roman legions with almost surgical precision. Surrounded, suffocated, annihilated. Rome's greatest generals fall into a brutal trap. How could a foreign army inflict such a disaster on the most powerful republic of the ancient world? In this video, you'll discover how Hannibal outwitted Rome, why this battle remains a strategic lesson in military schools, and what really happened that day. If you love history, military geniuses, and forgotten war stories, like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell to never miss a thing. Before understanding how Hannibal inflicted Rome's worst defeat, we must go back to the origin of the conflict. Carthage and Rome were not always enemies. For centuries, these two powers coexisted, trading and signing treaties. But as they grew, rivalry became inevitable. Rome dominated the Italian peninsula. Carthage, a wealthy Phoenician city, ruled the seas and its African and Iberian colonies. In 264 BC, the First Punic War broke out. Rome, until then a land-based power, built a war fleet and challenged Carthage on its own turf, the sea. After more than 20 years of fighting, Rome emerged victorious. Carthage lost Sicily, a strategic jewel, and had to pay enormous reparations to Rome. The Carthaginian general, Hamilcar Barca, humiliated by the defeat, harbored a fierce hatred for Rome. During a solemn ceremony, Hamilcar reportedly asked his 9-year-old son, Hannibal, to swear an oath never to be a friend of Rome and to dedicate his life to fighting the Romans. This oath, recorded by the Roman historian Livy, became legendary. Hannibal grew up in Iberia, where he learned to fight, lead, and anticipate his enemies' moves. At a young age, he was recognized as an exceptional tactician. At the age of 26, he took command of the Carthaginian armies in Hispania. In 219 BC, an act changed the fate of the ancient world. Hannibal attacked Saguntum, a city allied with Rome. It was more than a provocation. It was a casus belli. Rome reacted without hesitation. War was declared. Thus began the Second Punic War. But Hannibal didn't play by Rome's rules. He didn't wait for an attack on his lands. He chose the offensive. From Cart Hadasht, modern-day Cartagena in Spain, he launched one of the most audacious campaigns in history. With 50,000 infantry, 9,000 cavalry, and about 40 elephants, he crossed the Ebro River and then the Pyrenees. In southern Gaul, Gallic tribes blocked his path, but he pressed forward. Then came the unthinkable, crossing the Alps in the dead of winter. Icy, steep, and deadly. The mountain range cost him nearly half his army, but Hannibal survived. He persevered, and he arrived in Italy with barely 20,000 men. Yet, he struck hard. Winning victories at the Trebia and Lake Trasimene, he attracted Gallic allies and Italian deserters. Through his diplomacy and successes, he rebuilt a formidable force. Then, in 216 BC, he set up camp near Cannae. Hannibal had crossed mountains, rivers, and battlefields to reach this point. Cannae was not a fortified city. It was just a name, a piece of land. But for Rome, it would become a nightmare etched forever in history. August 2nd, 216 BC, in the dusty plains of southeastern Italy, it's hot, swelteringly hot. The air shimmers. Men sweat under the weight of their armor. On one side, Rome, 80,000 soldiers led by two consuls, Lucius Aemilius Paulus and Gaius Terentius Varro. Two opposing visions of warfare, but one shared ambition: to crush Hannibal once and for all and erase the humiliation of Lake Trasimene. On the other, Carthage, 50,000 men, a motley army, but forged in fire. Gauls, Iberians, Africans, and above all, the Numidian cavalry. Swift, elusive, deadly. It's David versus Goliath. Except this time, David is a strategic genius. At dawn, Hannibal positions his troops. His plan? A trap. A trap on a grand scale, never attempted at this level in military history. He places his Gallic and Iberian troops in the center, tired, seemingly vulnerable. The Romans sense a weakness and charge. On the flanks, the African troops, solid, disciplined, silent. They wait for the moment. The Carthaginian cavalry is split. The heavy cavalry on the left, the Numidians on the right. They're not there to hold the line. They're there to strike, encircle, suffocate. Varro is in command that day. He wants to end it. He scorns caution. No complex maneuvers, just a frontal assault. Brutal. 80,000 men advance, tightly packed in a dense formation. An unstoppable mass. The Carthaginian center retreats. Slowly. It bends but doesn't break. It's deliberate. It's scripted. The Romans press forward, straight into a funnel. Meanwhile, the Carthaginian cavalry springs into action. On the left, the heavy cavalry crushes Rome's. On the right, the Numidians outflank, lightning fast. The effect is immediate. The African troops on the flanks pivot inward, like two jaws closing. The cavalry circles back behind the Romans. They're surrounded, trapped in a giant net. No room to maneuver, no way to escape. An infernal crush. The sun, the dust, the screams. Then silence. This is no longer a battle. It's a slaughter. The Roman soldiers can no longer fight. They can't even raise their arms. They fall, suffocated, trampled, slaughtered. They die without understanding, without even seeing their enemy. The Carthaginians advance in tight ranks. They kill row by row. No respite, no mercy. Line after line, they carve through the Roman army. Hannibal lured them here. To this plain he chose. His trap snapped shut like a jaw. According to Polybius, between 50,000 and 60,000 Roman soldiers were slaughtered in a few hours. Livy claims the number was 70,000. No matter, the result is the same: annihilation. An entire generation of Rome vanishes at Cannae. And Hannibal? He loses fewer than 6,000 men. That day, the word annihilation took on its full meaning. The most massive Roman army ever raised up to that point was swallowed whole. It's one of the worst military disasters in its history. In Rome, there is stunned disbelief. Cannae is not just a defeat. It's a trauma, a waking nightmare. Survivors are scarce. The consuls are dead or fugitive. The army, obliterated. Over 200 senators have lost a son, a brother, or a nephew. Panic is absolute, but Rome does not yield. The Senate declares a state of emergency. Even slaves are conscripted. The minimum age for bearing arms is abolished. Public mourning is banned, lest fear take root. And above all, no negotiations. Hannibal offers to release Roman prisoners for ransom. The Senate says no, no ransom, no treaty, no peace. Rome chooses to resist, no matter the cost. But Hannibal does not march on Rome. Why? It's a mystery. Did he have the means to take the city? Unlikely. He had neither siege engines nor substantial reinforcements, and Rome's walls were high and well guarded. Was he waiting for a revolt among Rome's Italian allies? Perhaps, and he would get some, especially in the south, but nothing decisive. Rome continues to hold. Some say he lacked foresight. Others say he knew exactly what he was doing, wearing Rome down from within. Facing him, one man returns, Fabius Maximus, the old fox, the man of calculated delay. Mocked for his inaction, he becomes Rome's secret weapon. No pitched battles, just nibbling away. Pressure, harassment, sabotage. The war changes its face. Hannibal can no longer strike hard. He is in Italy, but trapped. Rome, wounded, chooses not to fall. Cannae is not just a bloodbath. It's a lesson in warfare. Hannibal's maneuver lure, pin, envelope, annihilate becomes a model. The encirclement tactic he used that day is still studied in modern military academies. It's now called the double envelopment. Simple in principle, brilliant in execution. It's the perfect example of a plan where everything, terrain, tempo, psychology, is mastered. Napoleon drew inspiration from it. Schlieffen, the German strategist who devised the invasion plan for France in 1914, made Cannae a textbook case. Norman Schwarzkopf in Iraq studied it too. But Rome doesn't just analyze, it evolves. It learns from its defeat. No more arrogance. It reorganizes its legions, strengthens its discipline, diversifies its tactics. It understands that a war isn't won in a single battle. It abandons flashy heroics for a long, tenacious, methodical strategy. Cannae nearly destroyed it. But it's at Cannae that Rome begins to become Rome. Thank you for watching this video to the end. If you learned something or simply enjoyed the content, consider leaving a like. It's a simple action for you, but it helps me tremendously in providing high-quality work. Your support makes all the difference. Now, it's your turn. Could Hannibal have truly taken Rome? Was it a strategic mistake or a calculated choice? Would history have turned out differently if, on that day, he had decided to march on the Eternal City? I want your opinions. Share them in the comments. I read everything. See you soon for a new video, and never forget, history never dies as long as we tell it.